Hello, hello. See if the sound's working. Let me know if you can hear me, guys. Fingers crossed. Get things kicking off pretty soon. Got loads to talk about tonight. Bit more organised. Got a bit more of a strategy of what we want to go through, which is good. But yeah, should be a fun show. Really interested to hear all your opinions on what's going on tonight. So yeah, we're going to talk about chess clocks in competitive play. I think that's going to be really interesting. It's very much split in the community. I think it's a really interesting subject. So it'd just be great to hear what you think on that. Also, want to talk about the new Tau. Lots of rumours going around, and again, some real kind of split opinion and some really strong opinions on it. Obviously, I can talk to you. I'm a Tau player, so I can talk to you about my thoughts on it. But I really want to hear what you guys think as well. So hopefully it's going to be a good show. But I do need to know that you can hear me, guys. So if there's any of you guys that can chuck it in the comments for me, let me know if you can hear me. Please let me know. So let me know. Yeah, we can hear you. Great. Is that Darren or is that Sean? But evening, anyway, chap. Evening. Still suffering from the end of this cold. So much cold. I can't see your face. Hey, hello, hello. All right, Darren. Yeah, I mean, I know you can't see my face, Darren. I'm just trying to get the sound up and running first, one step at a time. But we'll get that going. We'll get that going soon. Yeah, I will try and man up. I will try. It's just that really annoying last stages of a cold where you know your throat's gone a little bit and you're feeling a little bit run down with it, but you're not really ill. It's kind of at that annoying stage. Just can't kind of shake it off. Same old thing though, isn't it? You know, you crack on working, crack on with what else you're doing, and you never really give your body a proper opportunity to recover. But same old thing, same old thing. I do have a face for radio. You're too kind. Coming from such a beautiful man as you, Darren, I can only take that as a compliment. But we've got 7 people in here, which is cool. Seeing that's it's pretty unorganised. Let's turn this off so you can see me. There I am. Boom. I'm representing today. I'm representing the guys out at SN. Just before their big weekend. No Retreat 6. Gutted I can't be there. It's going to be an amazing event as always. Backing my man Fabius, reigning champion. He's going to bring it home. Make sure that Table Tactics guy doesn't take it back. Can't think of what his name is. Let's make sure we keep it at Twisted Dice. Great. Go 3 years. Go 3 events on the trot. Would be awesome. For that licking the brush on camera. Terrible. Yeah. So 8 people in the chat now. It's cool. Really good. Hello everybody. Welcome. Appreciate you dropping by. So we'll give it a little bit longer for everything to kind of. I like to allow the room to kind of fill up a little bit, just in case people don't get the confirmations late. They want to jump on. They want to get involved in the conversation. I don't want them to kind of miss the kind of start. What you guys been up to? Anything good? I've just been watching Black Sails. I don't know whether anyone's seen that. It's great. Absolutely awesome. I love it. It's been going a while. I think they're on the 4th season, and I'm kind of halfway through season 2. It's really good, actually. Really, really good series. It's like set before Treasure Island, so it's set sort of. I think it's like 20 years or something before Treasure Island, and it's kind of all around sort of Flint and all that stuff. I know it's a bad habit, Darren, but tough, tough. Yeah, it's great, really, really good. What are you guys watching? Anything cool? Anything you got on at the moment? Any sort of projects? What you kind of getting on with? Painting 3 pyrovores and 2 biovores for the hive. Good man. Good man. That's great. Pyrovores, I love it. Absolutely hats off. I'll tell you what, I'm loving my little pyrovore. Little Pyro P. He does a job for me. You know, cheapest elite slot just sits in there. Now that's probably why you're doing it as well, dude. I'm guessing that fills in your elite slot nice and cheap. So I'm guessing that's why you're doing 3. But yeah, so I'm I've got 3, but I've just been rocking 1 because I've been putting like Hive Guard or just a random lictor in there, more around the models that I've got, and I just haven't had a chance to really sort of even get the other pyrovores ready. But yeah, my one little pyrovore I play, he actually does work. It does work. People will come in for their easy kills at the back line, and surprisingly, how good that little flamer is. It's only like a heavy flamer, but it does some work. You know, double tap it. It's decent. I like it. Getting ready for life after the Flyrant nerf. Yeah. Well, there we go. It's pretend. I think. Look, let's be. I think honestly, I think it's probably right that it does get nerfed. I mean, I think we're going to rape it until the cows come home and keep it going. But I think when it does get nerfed, I think it's probably right. It is. They are too cheap. They're too cheap. They're too good. They're pretty hard to deal with, and the more balance there is, I mean, balance that's never going to exist in 40k. But the more balance there is, surely it's a better thing. And also, it at the moment it's very difficult to pick anything else in the Tyranid Codex because you're like everything is just kind of not as good as a Flyrant. So you're kind of almost always building a list that's not as good as it could be. They knock the Tyrant back a little bit, then it makes you look at other units, which I think is not a bad thing because there's still a lot of really good units in the Codex. There's lots of funky ways of building your army, and I don't think that it's the end of the world, particularly if GW continue to kind of hammer units that are proving too strong or are too cheap. It's going to be a constant battle. They're never going to get it right because they're not. You know, they're not testing things properly. I know that there's testers, obviously, but you know those testers are more or less just dealing with the FAQs, which is a little bit closing the gate after the horse is bolted. So I think there's constantly going to be a constant catch up. Though the rules writers are just not closely enough involved in the game at a competitive level, and maybe they just don't want to be. And if that's the case, then fair enough. But yeah, it's a really difficult one. Hi, Ian. Is it happening? What the nerf? Yeah, I expect so. I think it's going to happen. I think we're going to see a. There's 2 things that are rumoured, and quite strong rumours that potentially the Invon save will go back to a 5-up, and the points will go up considerably. That's the 2 kind of rumours that are floating around. We'll wait and see. I think the Invon save will be a shame because I think that will make them then much less usable. Where the points hike is probably the right decision, but you know, again, GW just like it's too severe the changes they're making. Like the stupid ass Tau thing with the commanders is ridiculous. Again, like talk about so out of touch. And you know, I love Games Workshop. I absolutely love Games Workshop, and I know a lot of people that are involved in the company. And you know, and the game is better than it's ever been. It's more fun. It's great. I love it. I do it in every sort of second spare time I'm not working or with family. And you know, it's the hobby that we all love. But dear God, they're a mess at trying to sort some of this stuff out. It's just horrendous. And yeah, the whole way that they've done it is, for me, is just not right. It's just not right. But there you go. But we can talk about that more. Yeah, I expect monstrous rending clause from 0 to 15 to 20. Yeah, maybe base increase by 25 or something. If they kill the 4++, the Flyrant is dead. Yeah, I agree, totally. Anyway, there's 10 people in the chat, so let's start this off. So if you're joining us for the first time, thank you very much for coming along. This is Wargaming Weekly. It tends to be the weekly show, even though it's when I can kind of get it going. But it is the weekly show where we talk about all things Wargaming. We talk about news, rumours, but predominantly I just chat rubbish with you guys for about an hour, hour and a half. We talk about opinions. I'll tell you what I'm kind of doing at the moment, what events I'm going to, what lists I'm building. We just have a silly chat, and wherever the conversation goes, whatever we kind of talk about is all good. And yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell. It's brought to you by Wargames, my sponsor. Do check them out for all your war gaming goodies. So releases. So let's kind of dive straight in the first thing, which is Tau. So obviously Tau will go on pre-release this weekend. We know that. That's no surprise. That's not some hidden secret squirrel rumor mill. That's going to happen. And Games Workshop have obviously been doing what they've been doing for every codex, which is teasing us with little tidbits from the codex to come. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit in a minute, around kind of what we think of Tau, but that's kind of just to let you guys know. If you kind of, for some reason, you're hiding under a rock, you're not in touch with that type of thing, I'm letting you know that Tau go on pre-release this weekend, which is cool. Another codex out. The closer we get to a full range of codexes, the closer we are to actually seeing potentially where the game's going to go over the coming years. And until we get that full range of codexes, it's still anyone's guess how things are built. And nobody really knows that, because I don't think Games Workshop know it. I think it's adapting and evolving all the time. Are they just there for a hobby? Are they more competitive based? Who knows? Who's pulling the strings? Who knows? But there you go. So Tau this weekend, great stuff. We've also seen the confirmed, not necessarily a release date, as far as I'm aware there's no release date, of the new box set, which is Forge something, someone will say. I can't remember what it's called anyway. It's a game. It's one of the box sets. I think it's a mini game, but it's Admech versus Necrons. In that box, you're going to get the new funky little knights. Love them or hate them, I think they look really stupid, personally. That chainsword is ridiculous. Looks really just dumb. So short and stubby, I think it looks pathetic. But I'm not a massive knight fan anyway. I've never really liked the aesthetics of knights. So I suppose I'm a bit biased there. A lot of people are loving them, which is cool. They're definitely clever little models, and it'd be really interesting to see what they do in the game. Then in the Necron Force, you've got the new very cool Cryptek, and I really like that. Very dynamic. He looks like he's kind of surfing on his kind of Wraithy Scarab things. I think that's cool. Really like that. And I like what they're doing with kind of that kind of aesthetic of that Necron kind of style, which is really cool, and much better than their warriors and a lot of their dated models now, which look very out of kilter. But when you look at kind of their race, which I think are very dynamic, and a few of their newer models look really cool. So I think that's a great inclusion in the Necron range, which is cool. So we haven't got a date for that. I'm guessing it's probably going to come out at Adepticon week, which is a couple of weeks now. Probably going to come out around that sort of time, I think. And there'll be rules for the Necron character and the knights in there, from what I gather, which again is interesting. I don't know what you guys think, whether you like the knights. Hey, Toby. Hey, nice to have you here. Craig, hello. Forge Bane, that's the one. Nice one. Thank you very much, Craig. Hello, Will. I remember I don't have to pronounce your name on the screen because I can never get it right, but that is Will. Julian, legend, nice for you to come along. It's filling up, guys. It's great. Thank you very much for joining, and thanks for getting involved in the chat. It is a very interactive show, so if you've not been it before and you're watching this back, there's not many people to watch it back, but if you are watching it back, do get on the show live, because it's a really kind of cool chat. Everyone's kind of bantering around and talking about what's going on in the community, which is very cool. Okay, so that is that. What else have we got going on? So as far as sort of tournaments. We are very, very close to Adepticon, which is, if you're not aware, is probably the second biggest event in the singles 40k tournament circuit, I would say. I don't know whether that's 100% right, but it's definitely one of the biggest. It's a major. As a convention, it probably is the biggest. It's a convention that's a very successful convention, and it's been going a long time now. It's in Chicago, I think. And yeah, it's really good. It's one I would like to definitely go to in the future. They kind of do their own thing, and it's a little bit different from some of the other ITC big events in the US, but definitely a really, really good event, and no doubt anybody in the States particularly will be there representing. So that should be a very, very cool event, and looking forward to seeing what comes out of that. You know, has it now got to the stage where the Tyranid Flyrant lists are now creeping into the US? We've kind of seen that, and I think over in the UK there's a lot of players, particularly the ETC top level UK players. There's almost a little bit of a joke around the US, or a little bit behind on meta, and I would kind of jump to their defence and say that's not the case. It's just that the way the meta works out there is very different, because the comp is extremely different, and it doesn't complement spamming of one strong unit as much as it does over here. So that's what I would say in defence, particularly as the ITC is so prevalent out there. And again, the ITC champions missions, and generally the format and the terrain doesn't necessarily favour the same sort of units that you see in power play, ETC, and big UK and European events. So I would say it's not necessarily that they're behind in the US. I think it's more that the meta is different, and they do kind of play a little bit different. And also I think they probably play more than the UK players in events, not as in players, but in events. And potentially they need to be more tricky and more and a little bit more out there with their lists, because potentially the very one-dimensional lists that we play in the UK, and that can be the case sometimes, we very much go for all-out power and raw, take a hammer to your opponent, which is how we do it, and we're much more successful. It works, but yeah, it's not quite the same sort of tricky, more shenanigan-based 40k that they play out in the US. By my experience, anyway, that's just my experience, guys. Might be totally off the boil, but by playing over there and playing over here and seeing, that's kind of what that's what I feel. That's what I kind of get the feeling for it. So yeah, so whether Flyrants come through now, don't know. Whether Elder will kind of take the crown again at the next major. So obviously they took it at the LVO. Will they again step in and take it again? Will demons start to come into things? There's a lot of rumours that, obviously, not rumours, but a lot of build up that kind of it was a little bit early at the LVO for demons really to sort of to stake their place on the meta. Will they kind of come through now, or will it be something else? I mean, who knows? Very, very interesting to see. Yeah, I mean, who knows? But yeah, so I look forward to see what the results come out from there. And then obviously we pick up pace on the way to the London GT, which is looking very much like a really huge convention in itself. It's definitely going to be one of the biggest we've ever held over here in the UK. And Zach and the team, I think, are doing a great job at pushing that event and at really trying to lift it and do something very dramatically different from any kind of event that's currently around in the UK. And good luck to them. I'll be there, and they've got loads of fun stuff happening. And in fact, they've still got a lot of tickets for a lot of their events because their venue is so huge. They're doing it at the Olympic Stadium, so it'll be one of the conference halls kind of around the Olympic Stadium. So they're doing it there, and they've got tons of room. So I think things are selling out pretty quickly now, and you're probably, you need to get on board pretty quick if you haven't already. But there are still tickets for a lot of their events, So jump on there. I think it's going to be pretty spectacular. There's some international players flying over for it. Zach's arranged like a little invitational Nova style event sort of within it. So you've got some of the kind of the heavy hitting UK ETC players. You've got a few kind of well, I say a few. You've got Lawrence in there from Tabletop Tactics, representing as a bit of a celebrity within the YouTube community and the Wargame community, and he's also a very solid player. He's won quite a few events now, and has proven that he is not just talk, and he can actually put his money where his mouth is. So he's playing in it. We've got Jeff in control, Robbins, very good Tyranid player. He's turned his hand to Custodes. Nice guy. I met him out in the out at LVO. We've got the previous winners, I believe, from the London GT. So Conrad, who also won the very first Northwest Open, I think is playing. We've got, trying to think who else there is. Reese and Frankie are playing in it. And yeah, a lot of the top UK players as well. So look, that's going to be fun to see how that goes. Be really interesting, as it's kind of almost looks a bit like a kind of US versus UK kind of little battle there, which should be a lot of fun to see. And then yeah, so Ian's just putting in there. And then you've got Warhammer Fest. Now I believe Warhammer Fest is the weekend after, and at Warhammer Fest in Coventry, I believe it still is. That there will be the finals of the GTs, of the Games Workshop GTs, which would be great. I'm not going to that event, which I am gutted about. But to be honest with you, I think for me it just be pretty difficult, because I did manage to get hold of a ticket for Heat 3, but unfortunately due to work commitments, I couldn't make the Heat, which I was gutted about, because I was pretty confident that I would have done pretty well. Should have comfortably qualified, and then would have been quite an exciting to look forward to, to playing in that final. But that didn't happen, so I didn't play any of the Heat, so I haven't qualified. And I think for me going up there, one, it's not really close for me. It's not just down the road. You would have to kind of stay up there, and I just think I'd be gutted, because as much as I like to kind of catch up with people and see all the other stuff that's going on, I really want to play in the event, and I think that would bug me a little bit. But I'm going to wish everybody luck there, and I'm going to miss that one, but I will be at the London GT the week before. And of course, we've got another couple of events to talk about. So we've got the, as I said right at the beginning of the show, that some people might have missed. It is the SN Battle Report No Retreat 6 this weekend. Really, really excited to see the results come through from that. There's some beautiful armies. If you haven't already, do check out SN Battle Reports. Very good friends with Stephen and the team there. A great bunch of guys, absolutely dedicated to the hobby like nothing else. And what they do there is an incredible event. Unfortunately, again, I couldn't make it this time round, which is one of the first ones I've missed, to be fair. So I am again gutted that I'm not going to be there. But Chris, aka Fabius, from the channel will be representing. He is the reigning champion, and we're hoping that he brings it home again for the channel. I will be supporting him and his beautiful demons. It'll be tough if he can do it. Hats off to him, because Tzeentch demons, because it's kind of mono, you've got to have a very kind of clear defined army. You can't do the soupy lists. They're very strict on that. So he's taking a pure Tzeentch demons list. And Chris is one of the best players that I've played, and definitely able to hang with anyone. But he's going to find it tough with Tzeentch now against some of the other guys there. And I know that Lawrence is absolutely going for blood. I've seen his list. It's brutal. If you don't know, Lawrence won it the first 3 times before I took it off him in No Retreat 4. And then obviously Chris won it and again took out Lawrence in the final in No Retreat 5. So he's going back. He's going for blood. And he wants his title back. So it will be very interesting. Very interesting. So watch this space. looking forward to finding out what results come out of No Retreat this weekend. And then the Northwest Open, the big one, my own beloved event, which we will be holding, as always, at Wargames. This time it will be the 28th and 29th, I believe, of July. So it's the last weekend in July. Tickets we hope will go on sale within the next couple of weeks. We're just finalising the event page at the moment. We've had a few other bits and pieces going on. They've got lots of other events as well. So Dave, who concentrates on events over at Wargames, he's kind of snowed under with other events at the moment, but he's working his best and his hardest to get everything in place, to get that page up as soon as possible, and then you very, very soon will see the pack and your opportunity to get those tickets. And last time they sold out within an hour, so we sold 60 tickets within an hour. So if you missed out, it's a great event up in Southport in Wargames. Great prize support, a lot of fun, and yeah, there was a lot of people that missed out because it was the same weekend as Cali, the Last Chance Open earlier in the year. So if you missed out then and you want to see what it's like, then keep an eye out on the Wargames Facebook page, because as soon as the page goes live, you'll see it there. Jump on board, and then as soon as those tickets go on sale, you'll be able to get hold of them. And it is, as I said, it's a spectacular event. It's a lot of fun. I cannot wait to get up there again and host another amazing event. Let's have a little look at the chat. We've got Will in the chat, and as I said, all the other guys chatting away. And obviously, yeah, I'll give a little shout out to Will again. So Will holds the STO, the Scottish Takeover. So they are running the Scottish Takeover 3. Yeah, I think it's the third one now. And that is end of March. I'm not sure if it's sold out. It might be sold out now. Great event. Again, held by a great bunch of people in lovely location in Scotland. So fancy a little trip up north. It's a great event. It's growing quickly, so it's a great time to get on board now, because I think it's going to continue to blow up over the next few years. Unfortunately, again, I'm still trying my hardest to see whether there's any kind of glimmer of chance of getting up there, but my March is just so packed. I'm going away to Rome next weekend, and I'm just really busy. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make this one, which is gutting, because it was one of the best events I went to last year, and a lot of fun. The guys do a good job. But yeah, so check out that again. You can look that on Facebook. Look at the page. And check it out. Our Nick's in the room. Hello, Nick. You all right? Seeing how you're not meant to do a weekly chat show. And Will's saying there's 4 tickets left. So there you go. It's a great opportunity, guys. Not sure what to do. What weekend is it? Let us know. And Ian's saying he's seen pictures of Lawrence's army. Yeah, if you look at Tabletop Tactics over at Instagram, you can see a picture of Lawrence's army. It's an Eldar army. It's decent. It's not too dissimilar from the one that he took to the LVO, and still did decent. I think he dropped a couple of games, but and to give him an excuse, because I can genuinely say the guy looked ill. Yeah, day 2 he was feeling really ill, and I think he suffered on one of the games, just because he was really struggling to kind of not throw up. So, and that was not through drinking. Lawrence, when he goes to a tournament, takes it pretty seriously. He doesn't go out and get hammered on the evenings. So I know that he was just not feeling well, and I know that played a part in it. But his list is strong, really powerful. So Will's saying it is the 24th and 25th. So if you search Scottish Takeover 3, you'll be able to catch it there. So yeah, so that's kind of what's going on. Loads and loads of cool stuff. Event scene. I think if you've never been to an event, if you're watching this back or you're watching it now and you're kind of going, well, he spoke the last 15 minutes about tournaments, and I don't do tournaments. I never want to go to a tournament. If you haven't, just go, because I'll tell you what, at the moment it is such an amazing place and an amazing community, and to be involved in tournaments. And it's not all about the top level piece. It really isn't. It's just around playing what is a great game at the moment. and playing an organised format across a weekend and hanging out with like-minded people. I don't think I have ever met somebody over the last 2 to 3 years that hasn't gone to a tournament for the first time and gone, I love this, this is great, I really want to do this some more. So if you're kind of thinking, I'm not sure, it's a great time to get into tournaments, and there's so many around now. It's easy to find one that's relatively accessible, and to be honest, for the entertainment, relatively affordable as well. So go along, give it a crack. I guarantee you won't regret it. What we've got Ian saying, I did last year to Warhammer Fest, playing in the Age of Sigmar tournament. Cool. Sorry about the cough, guys. Still, as I said right at the beginning of the video, I'm suffering from the tail end of a horrible cold, a bit of man flu, and it's kind of hanging around. So if I'm coughing and spluttering, I do apologise. I will try my best not to. Okay, so let's get on to the main subjects of this evening. So we can start off with Tau, we can start off with chess clocks. What do you want to talk about, guys? What do you want to start talking about? Do you want to talk about Tau, or do you want to talk about chess clocks? First person to give me one of them two, and we'll start off there. Waiting. Who's going to be quick on the Who's going to be quick on the keyboard? Wait for that. Wait for it to come through. Is it Tau? Is it just got Tau? So Will's got him with Tau. He's the first person in there. He's still going Tau. Right. Okay. We've got another for Tau. Right. We'll start off with Tau then, guys. Okay. So this is a really interesting subject, and actually, a good friend of mine has really grated on me tonight. And Will know when I get quite passionate about something I believe in, I tend to not really listen to anybody. So you guys can talk to me sense, and that means you guys as well as Will. So I don't want a whole page of your comments, Will. I'm warning you now. You can go off people quickly. Only joking, mate. But seriously, I want to hear all your opinions. But basically, so Tau. Now, you've seen the stuff coming through. If you haven't, I'll just kind of give you a flavour of what we've seen so far. So let's talk a little bit about Riptide. So Riptides are one of the things that everybody spammed in 7th edition. Everybody loved the Riptide, and then they hammered it so heavy at the beginning of 8th. And people loved that because people were sick and tired of seeing this plug and play Riptide wing in every other list. It wasn't fun. It was very easy to play. I did it myself, I know, so I can tell you that 100%. It's easy to play. It's not auto win by any stretch of the imagination, but it is easy to play, and it's very difficult to play against. So they hammered it hard. They hammered it silly hard, to the extent that nobody in their right mind generally puts a Riptide on the table unless you're trying to prove them wrong or you're crazy. So one of the first things that they kind of released was that the Riptide's gun profiles have got a lot better. So their burst cannons now are going to be more shots, and they're going to do more damage. So that's great. So they're going to go from being 8 shots to 12 shots. I'm sure someone will correct me if I go wrong. I've not got it in front of me. I'm basically doing this from memory. And they go from doing 1 damage to 2 damage, which is pretty good. The ion cannon goes up in strength. So particularly on its high profile, it goes up from strength 8 to strength 9, which is a really good increase. And yeah, and then there are some stratagems so one of the stratagems that they've said is that you can play this stratagem for 1 CP, and it will allow your Riptides then to not just have 1 benefit from the Nova charge, but 2. So you can have them with a 3-up invuln and the extra shots, which is really good. So I'm being careful that I'm going to try and split what I know is in a released thing, and then what I know is a rumor. So they've showed that the Riptide itself is going to be a lot better than it currently is. A lot better, I think. Now some again probably will correct me. I'm not sure whether they've released points, but I'm going to jump in there anyway. So I think they've said that potentially the points are going to go down on their guns. I think they've said that. They haven't released points of the unit, but I think they've said about the guns. The guns are definitely getting cheaper, which again will make them more affordable. So so it's easier to get Riptides on the table. They've said that. They've also said that you've got a stratagem to if you do one unsaved wound on an opponent, you can crack a stratagem for 3 CPs, and then the rest of your army again gets like +1 to wound against it, which is really powerful. So it means that, and they had exactly the same with one of the kind of benefits for taking the Cadre, whatever it was, in the last edition, but basically you shoot something at it, you take a wound off it, and then everything else then can obliterate it and just take it off the board like that, because they get +1 to wound, and +1 to wound, even though it sounds like it's nothing massive, it's particularly with the very strong powered weapons that Tau hold, it will just annihilate something off the board, no matter what it is. It can be a Magnus Mortarion, it can be, a massive big unit of Alt Boys, it can be anything you like. This will kill it almost instantaneously if you direct enough shots at it, because that +1 to wound is just incredible. Even things like Fire Warriors are just going to burn through things like there's no tomorrow. So they've told us that. They've also told us that there's another one for Commander, so you've brought back the old Commander, kind of buff Commander. So you've got one that can, so if the Commander doesn't shoot, then the unit or the unit close to him then can re-roll wounds or hits. Someone will tell me. Wounds or hits, but basically that's kind of, and that's great. That's a pretty cool one. So it's like the buff Commander back. They've talked a little bit about the different kind of chapter tactics, if you like. You've got one that's going to increase the range of your weapons, which could be very effective, because it means already Tau's range is pretty good, so it's going to make him even longer. So some really good stuff there. They've also said about the dreaded Commander fix. Now, this is when you start to go from something that's very positive to slightly negative, and this is quite frustrating. So they've hit Tau with this: you can only take 1 Commander per detachment. Now, so it depends how up to speed you are with the current meta. So when we were in 8th edition Index, Tau Commander spam was incredibly powerful, and let's be honest, it's still good now, but it was winning tournaments, and it was giving everybody a hard time, and it was an incredibly powerful army, which was basically 9 commanders, 8 or 9 commanders, lots and lots of drones, and that's pretty much the body of your list. It kind of drops down, and then it decimates everything, because those commanders are so accurate. They've got so many drones, both to soak up their wounds and to put damage on things. It was a great army, very powerful, very good on the Alpha Strike, and a great counter for Storm Ravens, which was one of the top lists when they first brought out 8th edition. So, Games Workshop have reacted to that about 6 months too late. Because nobody uses Commander spam in competitive use anymore. Nobody, because it's not that good. And what have they done? They've restricted it to 1 Commander per detachment. And that's really frustrating, because what they're reacting to is they're reacting to something that actually is inherently wrong in the game. So the game at the moment is a bit bust with detachments, because it is too easy to spam whatever unit is strong, particularly HQs. Same thing with Flyrants, exactly the same. So Flyrants, very easy to get tons of Flyrants in because of your detachment rules. I mean, Flyrants is pretty easy anyway, because we have lots of cheap access to opening up different detachments, but still, it's an example, and that's the problem in the game at the moment. It's a huge problem, whether it be, Heralds, when it was Malefic Lords before, whatever it might be, there was a massive problem with spamming units in certain detachments. This is just hitting one army that isn't particularly strong at the moment anyway, and hitting it with something that restricts it to having a maximum of 3 of these units in a match play game. And that's not really on, guys. That is unfair and is also stupidly late to the party. So I'm really interested to hear what your thoughts on that. Let me know. Do you think it's good? You know, what do you think? What's the answer to that? But for me, that's just stupidity. That is so retarded to do that. It's unreal. Because I really understand the mindset, and the mindset is right, but it's so out of touch with where we are. And I understand that books are written in advance, but they've got to get it right. They've got to get this right. They've got to get better at being able to react quickly, or if they're not having to react, they've got to get better at getting it right first time, because they're just not. And that's really frustrating, because one army should not get hit by something like this. It just shouldn't. So that's kind of, and I feel really strongly about that. And I hate like drone spam, commander spam. I dislike that. I don't want to play that way. I own 2 commanders and Farsight, and I have no intention of buying more to run more in my list. So I'm not going to be running 5 commanders. So it doesn't affect my army choice. But I just think the ruling in itself is so freaking narrow-minded and so late to the party. It's ridiculous. Right, so what's happened now? I've got my rant off. So Nick's saying go back to original Force Org, probably good idea. Gun drones plus 4 points, and drones for drones is bugger. So drones are now too expensive. Without having seen the codex, I can't say if commander limit is right or wrong. It's a fair point. Maybe there's stuff that make those commanders so good that they had to do that. I might order a ticket for London GT. Great stuff, Ian. Come along. I'd love to say hello and catch up. That'd be great. Yes, hitting Tau with a model restriction, and it's now the only thing like it in the game is bollocks. Absolutely, totally agree. I bet the FAQ is already written too. Yeah. Doesn't fit in with 8th edition in general, but Tau might still be the hardest army in the game. We'll see. I want to talk about that in a minute. Getting it off my chest. Yeah, I wish I could get this mucus off my chest, guys. But yes, I absolutely wanted to stress that. So that's the real negative. So now let's talk a little bit about the kind of the rumours and what we probably know. So we've talked about the range ones. There's something to give you extra range. The Farsight one's going to make you a little bit better in combat. There's one that's going to let each unit reroll 1 dice roll from it, so it's going to be like a free command point for each unit. So it's a bit like the Salamander one. There's one that's going to allow you to kind of jump away and assault or whatever it might be. So the sets or whatever they're called, those traits are not amazing. They're not amazing, but what they're also saying is there's going to be a massive reduction on the price or points of the Skyray, and the Skyray's missiles are going to get a lot better. I think the Riptides with the points deduction are going to be back with a vengeance, and I think they're going to hit incredibly hard. I think the stratagems that they've got available will make them particularly good unit. I think Tau still have some great units, things like we're optimizing the use of those the sniper drones. I think they're very good. I think now with potential extra range and stratagems on your just bog standard Fire Warriors are going to make them more playable. I think, as I said, Skyrays I think are going to be back, and I think are going to be quite scary. Storm Surges are already good, but I could see, again, a few bits and pieces tweaking and making them better. And I think the other thing I was thinking, there's a couple of other bits and pieces. And I think, you know, hammerheads are still very, very good. And I think, you know, there's some stuff you can do there. So I'm kind of looking at loads of little pieces, and you do, I think, as Retribution 83, I think your name is. My eyesight is crap. Yeah, it was saying, you know, that we have to see when the book comes out, and you have to kind of see it all pieced together. But I actually think that I'm starting to see what potentially will be some strength there. I think that the Tau will have enough long-range shooting to mean that if they play their cards right, they might be able to shoot certain armies off the table first turn, from long-range shooting that other armies aren't as good as them. Now, I know they only hit on 4s, and I know the best they're probably going to get is reroll 1s, but still, with enough shooting, I think they're going to do work. I think the Tau are not going to be that bad. I think, plus, you know, you chuck in your 4-12 units, so the Wyvara, who's already amazing at the moment, you chuck on some of the stratagems and what have you that you're going to be able to use because of keyword riptides and stuff like that, and suddenly you're going to make him even better than he is already. I think that we'll see some good Tau lists, and I think that, yes, maybe they're not going to be top tier, but actually potentially a few units at the moment that you just think, well, look, how's 3 Riptides going to take down a unit of an army of 8 Flyrants? Well, and you're going to go, yeah, that's probably right, but maybe when the FAQ comes down, you're not even going to see 8 Flyrants anymore. You know, you're certainly not going to see the amount of Dark Reapers on the table. Suddenly, things are changing, and actually, maybe Tau can put down enough firepower to take out these swarmy armies that we know are a problem, things like zombies, whatever it is. You know, maybe they're going to be able to annihilate some of these other armies that come through. You know, the big thing around is going to be like Necrons. Necrons are going to be, you know, really, really powerful because they're not going to die, and they're going to come at you with a lot of bodies, because the points will no doubt go down. Again, Tau are probably going to have the firepower to actually put their units down. So I'm gonna fly my flag in the air, and I'm gonna say that I think that Tau will win a major event before the end of the year. You've heard it here first. We'll see whether that happens, and I'm getting slightly annoyed with people that think that they're experts, these so-called playtesters that judge everything at face value after a few tests, and they suddenly think that they are the encyclopedia on what is good and what isn't. Because I tell you what, I think there is some strength there, and we just need to see where things right themselves, where balance gets changed, where FAQs come in, where, you know, mission formats change, whatever it might be. And I think we will see some internal balance within the game, and actually you might see some of these Tau units actually be pretty solid. So that's my views. I actually think, and I'm quite excited about the Tau, I think they might be okay. Now, I haven't yet worked out exactly what that looks and feels like, but I just think from a few of the little stuff that's coming through that maybe there might be some more stuff there. Yep, we'll have to wait and see, as Ian said. I think 100%. Right. Well, what's he saying? So, what have we got here? So, however, Mega Boost Ace Yavara will have a +6 range, drop in, kill whatever you shoot with 3 damage flamer, 100%. To clarify my position, I don't like model limits in the game outside of using max of 3 detachments because it limits creativity. I like to balance through changing points, and I totally agree with you. Nick's saying Necrons, he's obviously excited. We're hoping to get a game in. Fingers crossed, we've got a date now scheduled in. And it might well be Tau versus Necrons, so that would be a good one to watch. And Ian is saying, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, so I suppose that's my thoughts. My thoughts are that I actually think that Tau will not be as bad as people think. And I remember very clearly that people were saying that the Elder Codex was rubbish and that the Tyranny Codex was not that amazing, and how wrong they were. So we will see. We will see. And you heard it here first. If Tau start winning every event, you can go, well, he must have had the inside scoop, and I haven't. I'm just going on what I kind of feel from what I've seen and where I think the game could move to. So that's Tau. And let's put that down before I get more irate with people's opinions and following the crowd. As I said before we went on, I was chatting to a friend, very good buddy, lovely guy, and he was kind of, and very much jumping on the bandwagon of Tau are going to be rubbish, they're going to be crap, everything he's heard is not great, his kind of contacts or people he knows say that they're not that great, and I was kind of saying, well, hang on a minute, let's just wait and see. You might know or have rumours or whatever it might be around the rules, but have you played 20 games with that codex? Have you really worked out every combination? Because you haven't, and neither have those testers. They haven't. They've looked at it and they've gone, right, these are the most powerful units. Point for point, these work out. Let me put them in my math spreadsheet. Yeah, that works out. I'll spam them. Oh no, spamming them is not as good as spamming them. Right, fine. I'll ditch that codex, give me the next one. But to me, there's more to it than that. There's a lot more to it than that. So there we go. It will be, yeah, it will be my fault, 100%. Right, so, let's talk about chess clocks. Now, this is a very interesting one, and this one I have less of an opinion of, and I'm really more interested in what you guys think, because I think it's such an interesting conversation. And let me frame it for you. Let me frame it before we kind of just dive in. I'm going to talk to you about basically what this is, why it's happening, and what the kind of potential solutions are. So, if you're playing with your mates, you're either you're filming a game on YouTube, which we do obviously in the community quite a lot. The same as I've got Nick in the channel, Nick in the chat at the moment. A lot of us will film. We'll have a drink with mates. We'll chill out. Just have a bite to eat sort of through the game. Very relaxed, having a lot of fun, and maybe we'll play the game across 4 hours, and it's fun, no problem at all. And that's great. You don't need chess clocks. No need to worry about timing. It doesn't even matter if you don't finish the game, because who cares? You're just having fun. You're rolling dice, and that's great. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. I love that. That's the basic principles and idea of 40k, and why we love it, because it's a cool game that we can play with people we enjoy playing with. Simple? Yeah. Good. Right. Step it up a tier. You're going to tournaments. You're starting to go to tournaments, and again, it's no different. You're like, right, I want to go to a tournament because I want to paint my army. I want to just, I want to play 5 organised games or 6 organised games, and just enjoy it. A little bit of competition there. See whether my kind of army can do well. I'm not really too bothered though. I'm going for a bit of fun. I maybe do 2 tournaments a year. I don't really practice for them. I kind of come up with a bit of a list, but that's kind of how I play. And I'll try and play as fast as I can, but I'll do, and that's kind of how it goes. And maybe you'll win 2 games, you'll lose 3. Maybe you'll do really well and win 3 games and lose 2. But you don't expect to be at the top of the field. You've not researched and brought a list that will do really well. You're just going to the event because you want to have fun, and you want to chill out, and you want to take it in, and you just want to kind of put yourself to the test a little bit. And that's fine. Again, you don't need chess clocks. But now let's take it up another notch. So actually, you love tournaments. Tournaments is your most favourite part of the hobby. So some of us love to paint. Some of us love to convert. Some of us love the narrative and the story-driven part of the game. Some of us love to play competitively. And for those players that really, what it's all about for them, it's all about the competitive buzz and all about really seeing how far and how good they can get. It's important for them to be able to see a whole game. And it's not necessarily just important for them, it's important for their opponent as well. Because unless you play a full game from start to finish, you don't know the result. You don't ultimately know how that game would have finished. You've probably got a very good idea, and you can draw conclusions by when it ends, but you don't know exactly what's going to happen all the way through the game. And you don't know how many points you would have got, what you would have scored, and how the game would have ended. That's not very cool in itself. That's not very cool. And nobody wants to be in that position. So, and those first guys we spoke about, sort of that have won some of their games, lost some of them, actually, they're not really too bothered. If they don't finish their game, they've played a bit of fun, they've had a bit of fun, they're trying to speed up a little bit, but ultimately they've done their best, they're enjoying it, they don't want to be put under pressure of time, not their thing, they want to roll some dice at an organised event and have a cool time. People at the top of the event, they're not necessarily, they're still here to have fun, still want to, have a good time, but they want to actually pit themselves and challenge themselves properly. And to do that, they really need to play a whole game. So to play a whole game, you need to get through that game. And to do that, how do you do it? Because what we're finding is it's not always easy to complete your games. And that's not either player's fault. It's both of their faults. It's the game's fault. It's the time that you're given to play the game. These are the problems. And it's what is the solution to that problem. Because the unwritten rule that we've been playing with for the last however long is just try and hurry up players. Just, make a conscious effort, try not to play slowly, and most people don't try to play slowly, they just probably do it. They're either really considering their positioning, they're really considering their next move, and that tactical approach is really important, and that's the way that they play. They don't think they're a slow player, but ultimately they are not getting through their whole game. Excuse me. So it's come down to the fact that now we're getting really not very far in our games. So a lot of the top games at the LVO we're only getting to like turn 3. Some of them even into just to turn 2. And I think like Lawrence's games, I don't think he got past turn 2 on most of his games. And that's not necessarily his fault. It's not necessarily the guy that he's playing. But when you're deploying stuff that's so crucial, when you're dealing with lots of factors in every turn of the game, things can take a long time. So how do we come up with a solution to this? Because you can do a few different things. You can reduce. There's 4 solutions in my mind, and I'll be interested to hear from you guys whether you think there's other solutions. But the 4 solutions pretty much are: 1, we carry on doing what we're doing, which is just trying to get players to speed up. TOs trying to be very forceful around dice down, around really pushing time limits. And that's pretty much doing what we're doing at the moment. Do we reduce point size? So we go down to 1,500 points. So you've got less toys on the table, but in theory, your game might be shorter. Do you increase the time limit? Well, a lot of the time these are 5 to 6 game events that take all weekend. Early starts, late finishes can be very tiring. Do we lengthen those games? Will the extra half an hour to take it to 3 hours or 3.5 hours, whatever it might be, is that enough still to get people through a game, or will they just go slow down further? Or do we go to chess blocks? Right. So before I kind of go and see what you guys have kind of written, what your opinions are, let me just talk you through chess blocks and how the proposal for how they work, because it's quite a scary proposition, and some of you might have already used chess blocks in other games or understand the principle. But basically, you program in how long you've got for the game. So if it's 2 hours, you split it in half, and each player has an equal amount of time to play their game. Split in half. Now those players cannot run over that time. If they run over that time, you can either decide whether they stop and the other player continues on playing, and they literally can roll no dice. participate no longer in that game, or do they automatically lose if they run out of time? They're the kind of two choices for what happens when you run out of time. But after you've programmed in those points, then as soon as the game starts, so as soon as we start to roll dice, we start to decide on deployment, the first person will hit their timer. Their time will start clocking. So if they got to deploy the first unit, they'll go, right, I'm going to place the first unit. I've finished placing my first unit. I hit my timer. It's over to you. You've got to place your first unit now. They'll place theirs, hit the timer again. When it gets into the game, so you're doing your movement, obviously your time's going down, no problem at all. When it gets into your psychic phase, so you'll do your psychic phase, then you roll, you successfully cast a power, then your opponent has an opportunity to deny it. So he goes, I'm going to deny that. Press the timer. It's his clock now. He's got to do the deny. So he rolls dice for deny. He doesn't deny. He taps it down. It's your turn again now. So that's the kind of feel for it. It's a bit backwards and forwards, but it's like anything. You're going to adjust to it. You're going to get used to it. And I have never ever tried it. So I'm coming from a place where I don't know. I have no idea. I will be testing it. I will be trialing it. But I don't know. I absolutely have no idea. That in principle is what the chess clock is, how it works in 40k, and what the ITC are proposing to use in their big events. So what do you guys think? So I'll go over to the chat. I'll scroll up because I've seen it flicking away, even though I've been concentrating on looking at you rather than getting confused on here. There's loads and loads of stuff going on here. So let me just read through. I'm using Utal for STO, so that's Will. Good stuff. Sorry for the caps on. That's all right. Shouting, it's fine. I heard something Lawrence talk about this. I go to a tournament for fun and to meet new people, and that's absolutely cool. You know, chess clocks. I went to a tournament in Inverness, and they used them. It was totally beep. Ruined the event. Sorry. Gabe Lucas, hello mate. Are you afraid of Dark Eldar with your Tyranids? Maybe we'll talk about that at the end, but potentially I am. Particularly if they nerf my tyrants. I think Dark Eldar are going to be no joke. Will saying the only way to go in tournaments, Ian. Then the other Will was saying, instead of enjoying a game, even at competitive level, it became a game of not wanting to lose via the clock. The nerves made it crap. Then you can also manipulate the clocks. Well, you probably need to talk a bit more about how you manipulate the clocks, because if you're clear enough as a TO around how you organise that clock, there should be a clear agreement between the players of what is fair for a changeover. And once we decide that that's the way we want to go, we can make that clearer. Because the thing at the moment is it's probably going to be crap at the moment because we don't know what we're doing. And until we work out how to run these chess clocks, it is going to be a bit crap. And also it's completely new and different, and it completely changed the way we play. So, look, I don't know. I'm interested to hear your opinions. I think it will ruin the game, says Ian. It about 2.5 hours of tournament each. About 2.5 hours at a tournament each game. Hello, Peter Higgins. I did hear a few reports from the LVO of people talking through the last few rounds of their games and agree in the final score just because of the length of the games. Yeah, which is again rubbish. Who wants to do that? It's all about rolling dice. Let's do some simple maths. Average tournament scene is 2.5 hour games, 150 minutes. ITC has 6 rounds, 25 minutes a turn. That's 12 minutes a turn. If you have 4 phases, get through them. 3 minutes a phase. good luck, Will says. But the thing is, Will, what you're saying is that if you're splitting it down by evens, and what you've got to understand is actually if you're playing with a chess clock, you know how much time you've got across the whole game. So actually you're going to go, okay, so I know that my turn 2 is really important. I'm going to spend 20 minutes on this turn, and I don't care how long I'm taking. You can wait. You can sit there, you can have a drink, you can chill out. This is my time. I'm going to make these right decisions, because then you're going to right, but now I'm go. Over to you. I'm over to you. Over to you. Because you've done that, you've planned your time, you know when your killer turn is. And I think the way that I'm feeling about it, and I really don't know, is I think you just have to change your mindset. You know, we're in a competitive environment. If you're playing a game for a competitive environment, you like a competitive game, you've got to work out how to do that. Because it clearly, there is too much grey area at the moment, and it's not working. And actually, if you put in a measure that makes it clear and concise and is easy to judge, then you take away the greyness, you make things clearer, and clearness and clarity makes things easier and makes things more chilled and relaxed in the long run, because you can see all your cards are on the table. There's no getting away from that. Now, obviously, at first, that's not going to be the case, because there can be a manipulation of how you use those clocks. But if you regulise that, so you make it strict enough of how that clock's used, and if someone deviates from that, then they get called out. But if you get that clear enough, I don't know. Nick saying 3-hour games, potentially still not enough. Not sure if chess clocks is the real solution. Oh, excuse me, guys. The more I talk, the worse I'm getting. Lost where I was. LCO is 2.5 hours. I feel like losing to a timeout will be way too gutting in a close game that had loads of epic swings. I think, look, Joel, I think that's a great call, and that's the kind of counter argument to it. Actually, if you're both playing pretty much the time and you get timed out on that last turn, that feels a bit crap, doesn't it? You're basically there, and actually maybe the game finished at the end of turn 4, but it really was like a real good game. Both had maybe quite difficult art, whatever it might be, and that kind of felt right for you. Then to have it so you're forced and then getting timed out feels a bit tough. Maybe I really see that. Nick saying it sounds rubbish. Will Horde players get more time? No, because you choose your army. You need to play it quicker. So if you need to play it on on boards, on movement trays, or get good at using it. Then they called it last turn at first over to us. So yeah, we were just going through other tournaments, explaining it to other people. Right, imagine the atmosphere at an event, no banter. Everybody's avoiding the clock, and all you can hear is the clicking of clocks all around you. I'm not disagreeing there, Peter. So what I would say, and this is kind of where I think. So I think that you do it on the top tables, and you do it from day 2. And this is not me making this up, guys. This is not me being a clever ass. This is what other people are saying. And for me, that sounds not too bad. That sounds like maybe the balance. Because then, if you're doing it on the top tables and you're doing it from day 2, those people that actually, are just having a laugh, maybe they're not going to get all the way to the end of the game, maybe they're not going to be competing for the top prize, then actually, who cares? They're having fun. They're having a great time. Don't push them on the clocks. That epic game. Let them have a laugh. Let them have that epic game. But actually, if you are there for the competitive nature of the game and you're really taking it to the highest level, this is what you do all your time. You practice for tournaments, and that's your thing. That is your thing, and we're very judgmental about these people. You know, we're very judgmental about it as a community. Oh, you're a cheesy player. You're a win at all costs. You're one of them guys. You're that guy. They're not necessarily at all. They're just players that really enjoy a competitive game. They're a competitor. That's what they like. Just the same as a sports competitor loves that. It's a different type of enjoyment they get from the hobby. That's what they enjoy. And just the same as we enjoy painting, or we enjoy a narrative game, or we enjoy a very chilled out game, we're not in a position, and we should never be in a position, to judge what people get that enjoyment for the game. As long as they are not ruining it for me, for you, for anybody else, why should we force our opinions on them and say, you're one of those people, you're not welcome in the community because you're just that competitive player? That's not right, and that's not fair. There is a place for everybody in this community. As long as you are a nice person, then there is a difference between somebody that is massively competitive and not being a nice guy. Too often does that get blurred, and too often are the two things on the same page. There are too many people that are both, but there are still a hell of a lot of people, and I would class myself to a degree in this bracket, of a very competitive player who loves the feel and the excitement of a competitive tournament, but is still I still love the game. I still want people to have fun. So I think maybe on the top tables, where it's really important that those games finish, you get that chess clock in there. Maybe. Would change the meta, but even more elite, potentially. Someone is bound to target, is forget to switch it off, and they will, and that's the thing. And you got to practice it, and speaking to a couple of people that have tried it, their first game, first couple of games, even their third game, still felt very awkward, felt very weird, felt like this strange. By game 4, they really were seeing where it changed the game, but became fun, became natural, became much more part and parcel of it. So I think we need to try it. I think we need to give it a go, and not at a tournament necessarily. Just give it a go and see how it works for you. And one thing someone said to me that really did resonate with me: you play chess clocks, and actually, so you're playing with your buddy, and actually you want to play chess clocks. You're still going to have fun, but you know how long that game's going to take. So if you come home from work and you're like, right, I've got 2.5 hours for this game. You set up that game, you and your buddy, that game's finished in 2.5 hours. It's finished. So you can plan your evening in, you can plan your weekend in, you can plan your afternoon. You don't have to get up too early, whatever it might be, because that's your game. Your game is a 2.5 hour game, and that's it. And that in itself has a purity and something that I quite like. That did resonate with me. That hit a chord to think, actually, that game starts at that point and it finishes at that point. Yes, it changes how we play, but does that make it bad? Does it make it less enjoyable? Or does it just make it different? What else we got here? 40k, I reckon they'll release Necrons before Dark Elder. What do you think? Yeah, I agree. Yes, Nick saying, yeah, I think it will be next week. We have a long wait till we get Orcs, unfortunately so. Just another tactic, maybe, 100%. Working the clock into your list build. Again, yep. You may well be able to delve into my GSE at the LCO, because I can't help but feel this is very pushed to that subject. I won't do the event went to the event with Horde, but I got third to fourth turn. This is frowned on. Chess clocks sales will rocket. Yeah. It's hard to comment without trying it. Exactly. First opinions of change will vary in a game. We all enjoy. Can't wait to see GW's version of the chess clock on sale though. 100%, you know it's going to happen. How much will that be? A lot more expensive than the one from eBay. Do you think there'll be another release, supersized, and another? Do you think they'll release another supersized Space Marine supplement later this year? Yeah, I do. I suppose my prediction for that would be potentially a Christmas, along with maybe another Primarch, another loyal Primarch would be my prediction along that. And the second run, the second run of fluff and graduation to the story would be my prediction. So anyway, I suppose before I'll let you guys, just ask me any questions. I suppose that's my final thought on chess clocks is, I just think that I would like 40k to be in a position the same as computer games are. And what I mean by that is we've all started seeing more games streamed on Twitch, more of a buzz and professional feel around around talking and about lists and about the competitive scene. And I would really love it if 40k got to the stage where it could almost be played professionally. Now that might be scary for some people, but for me, what that does is that injects a lot more cash flow, a lot more, a lot more people are going to get into the game, and that's really healthy for the game because hopefully then that will mean that GW would invest in getting proper rules writers to write a balanced game, because they would have to if it became that competitive, because it's not at the moment, and ultimately that's always going to cause some trouble, which I think would be great. But I think it would be awesome if we could have something that was that went to that type of level, that you could have almost a professional circuit of tournaments. So you could still have the same stuff that we have at the moment, still amateur tournaments, but actually almost like a professional tournament scene with real kind of big sponsors and properly televised on Twitch. I think that's a really exciting place for the competitive scene to go, and that doesn't stop anything that we do. Think about golf. People love golf. Loads of people love golf, but not everybody wants to play it competitively and be on some mission to be the next whoever. They'll always want to just meet their mates at the golf at the golf club, have a slow walk around, do a course in a whole day, and then go back to the bar afterwards and drink and have a laugh and talk and moan and groan about this and that and the other. And 40k and Warhammer doesn't need to be any different from that. It can still have just the same fun of the fair at a relaxed level. But why not give the game the ability to have a mechanism that it can be properly measured and properly played at a high level, so we can take the game that we love and get it out to the masses, to make sure that the next generation of players aren't just playing computer games, they're also picking up tabletop games as well, and they're looking at players playing on Twitch. They're looking at the next list on Twitch, that type of thing. How cool would that be? And I think the idea of chess clocks and a way of formalising that turn-based movement potentially is something that's really needed if we go down that route. And if we don't, this game system is always going to be a boys' club at the top. And a little bit that's what it is. And let's get out of that. Let's make it a really properly professional outing, a professional run organisation with independent people involved in judging, independent people involved in, whatever it might be. That I would love to see the game that we love get to that level. That's my personal beliefs and kind of where I feel. That's what I think. Um, what was in that cup? Cold tea was in that cup, my friend. Can you define by what you mean by play professional? You mean like earning money, like a job? Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of because that's kind of a YouTube based. Not as I said. Look, doesn't matter about the YouTube bit. Just actually have people that are just really professional players. You know, like same as darts or whatever it might be. You know, why not have something that actually is a proper competitive scene that's managed properly and that people inspire to be that player, that you can train to be like that. Why not? I am absolutely dying now, guys. You don't need points in Age of Sigmar. But I get what you mean. Major League Gaming, absolutely. That's absolutely it. Balanced game, is that possible? At the moment, no, but it can be. It absolutely can be. How we get there, I don't know. You need some very clever people, and we need Games Workshop particularly to have that same vision. And at the moment, they don't have that vision. They don't have that appetite. But if they did, well, it could be incredible. Probably whiskey in that cup. I wish. It's a big cup. It's very big. It's like monstrous. And there's still stuff in it, but it's just cold now. It's not nice. I couldn't do full-time commission work. Yeah, well, it's different strokes for different folks, isn't it? Anyway, guys, before I kind of call it a day, because we have been going an hour and 20 minutes, which is pretty a long one for us, but I think there's some really interesting subjects, and hopefully you'll kind of go away thinking about what we've kind of spoken about and kind of making your own opinions and having a chat to other people, because we've all got to kind of make a decision ourselves where we want things to go. Ultimately, some people will bite the bullet and make these decisions, and other people will either follow them or they won't. So, we can't always necessarily impact on them, but I think it's good to talk about it, and it's good to break down those barriers and actually talk about why we've got a problem with it. Because my immediate reaction was, I don't want chess clocks. I do not want chess clocks. And then you kind of question yourself, why do you not want chess clocks? Have you tried it? No, I haven't. And you go through the other parameters, and then you start talking about it. You talk about other people that have used it, and you talk about their negative impressions of it and the positive impressions. And slowly but surely you start to break down the barriers of why you don't like something. And at the end of it, you still might not like it, but at least then you've actually gone through the thought process of why you don't like it, which I think is important, because you're always going to make a gut feeling on something, and sometimes your gut's right. Other times you just don't like change, and that's fine as well. But it's there, and it's not going to go away. Good chat. I will get timers for our next game. That'd be quite funny, Nick. I don't think you'd ever be able to do it in a battle report. I was thinking about that. I just don't think you could do it. But it would be quite funny. That will only burn more if he wins, Nick. Well, I'm going to win anyway. But yeah, that's a given. Thanks for the chat. My Beastclaw Raiders are waiting on the painting table. Good luck, mate. Keep it up. Thanks for joining us. You guys can practice using chess clocks. Haha. Anyway, guys, so I am going to call it a night now. Thank you everybody for joining. I haven't even kind of pushed all my stuff, which I normally do. But if you do want to support me further, you can see the link up there to Patreon. I want to thank my patrons. Nick, he's in the chat. Thank you, Nick. And thank you to the other guys. Thank you very, very much. By supporting me, you really do support the hobby for me and support me to put more content on. You inspire me to keep going. So everybody that's supported me on Patreon, thank you very much. I've got new dice which come up for you because I have the graphics. I have dice. I have a t-shirt. And we have all sorts of other cool stuff. So we also have a new discount code from Martin at Wargames, so you get some discounted goodies as well. So if you want to support me further, you can catch me on Patreon. Catch me on Instagram. I post quite a lot of work in progress stuff. I'm working on a Thousand Suns army at the moment, so if you want to see that, you can see it over on Instagram. And hopefully it won't be too long before my next video on YouTube. So there'll be another Tyranid Tactics video, and we have another 2 battle reports that will be dropping soon on Twisted Dice. But thank you ever so much, guys, for coming along. It's been a really cool chat. I've loved chatting with you guys, and I'll see you all really, really soon. So thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. Bye for now.